I wonder if you've been a victim of a petty crime. Have you had your bag or your phone or your jacket stolen, perhaps? Perhaps you've had your property vandalised. Well, how would you feel if those responsible, when arrested, didn't even have to go to court? Well, that's the new proposal being examined by ministers, which could see punishments decided by police or prosecutors. It comes as new research shows 2/3 of people think prison simply doesn't stop petty criminals reoffending. Well, joining me now to talk about this is Lucie Russell, Director of SmartJustice, which commissioned the survey and campaigns for community-based solutions to crime, and Chris Streeks, an ex-offender turned actor. Many thanks for coming in. Lucie, let's start with this survey. Just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, the survey was commissioned by SmartJustice and Victim Support and was launched in the Mirror newspaper today. And the idea behind the survey was to find out what victims of non-violent crime think needs to happen to criminals who are committing sort of antisocial behaviour, shoplifting, theft from cars, that kind of thing. And the kind of things that it's proved is that victims aren't as retributive and vengeful as we think that they often might be. What victims want is effectiveness. What they want is that offenders stop offending. And as the poll shows, 2/3 of them believe that prison doesn't reduce reoffending.
Well, Chris, I suppose, is a living example of that. Is that right, Chris? I mean, how many crimes, if you don't mind me asking, were you actually convicted of?
Well, I went to prison on 22 occasions for low-level offences, and it didn't help me in any way.
Not at all?
Not at all.
I mean, if you don't mind me asking, just a bit further in that case, what did it teach you then? And clearly not to reoffend. Did it actually help you to come out and actually reoffend better in some respects?
Yeah, I mean, prisons are universities of crime. You go to prison as a young offender, you meet more experienced older criminals, and you learn more about crime.
So it worked completely the opposite?
Yeah, yeah.
Which backs up the survey, Lucie.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And what people in the survey were saying was that better parenting, more constructive activities for young people, more drug treatment and more mental health provision were more effective than the short prison sentence. I mean, what we weren't asking them was about serious crime, because I think we all know and believe that we do have to have prison for serious criminals. But as Chris is saying, they're universities of crime, they're extremely expensive, and the reconviction rates prove that they don't change people, and what we want is for offenders to change. Punishment alone doesn't change people.
So what was it that ultimately changed you then, Chris?
The opportunity to harness my talents, the opportunity to get involved in the arts and pursue a career that way.
And is that something which you think could be introduced, that type of, talking about punishment, but community service? Perhaps it could be community art courses or something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody, but I think that a lot of community-based initiatives will give young people the opportunity to look at themselves and build confidence and build self-esteem, and actually take on board the fact that what they're doing is not helping them or society.
Is there a fear that the flip side of this might be, once again, that people who are the victims of crime take the law into their own hands because they feel that they're not being suitably...
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're saying is we're not saying that there shouldn't be sanctions, and we're not saying that people shouldn't be punished, but I think that something like compulsory work in the community actually pays the community back for the damage that these offenders have caused, rather than sitting around in a prison cell for 23 hours a day doing absolutely nothing, which doesn't do that. But I think, as Chris said, this is about stopping people from offending in the first place, and I think more activities for young people to stop them getting involved in crime, preventing crime before it starts, is one way to go, as well as sanctions like community work, where people actually have to do work for the community.
Lucie, Chris, I'm sorry we've got to leave it there, but many thanks indeed for coming in and telling us more about that.